I'm on a job here today. I usually don't film my jobs, but I thought you guys might be interested in this particular job. This is a fiber board kind of siding. It's real junk. It was put on about 30 years ago. And it's just deteriorating. It's a product that never should have been used. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make new siding. This stuff is a little over 8 inches wide, and it tapers from 3/4 to 3/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manufacture some on a table saw, and I'm going to show you how I do that. First thing I'm going to do is rip these boards down to 8¼ inches. Then I'll show you how I cut the angle. Before I get a lot of comments on my t-shirt, it's a yard sale shirt. I don't even drink beer. It is what it is. Mrs. W would like me to throw it out, but I haven't yet. So the next thing I'm going to do is set the blade at an angle that will it'll go from 3/8 of an inch here down to just under 3/4 here, and it'll taper like that. I got to do it from top to bottom, and my saw won't cut through this much. And that's the interesting part. I'll show you how to get that center out. I've already done a bunch of this, so I already have the angle established. So I just take this piece of scrap wood and set it up. As you can see, it's not much of an angle. Maybe 1/8 of an inch or so in 3 inches. So I'll pass all 3 boards through there, and then I'll reset it and flip it to the other side. Now, as you can see, that gives me that taper from 3/8 to almost 3/4. And now what I got to do is take this center out. That's the cool part. Now I got a little over 2 inches to take out right here. And it doesn't have to be pretty, because this is the back side of the board. Once it's put up, it's never seen again. And what I've used, it's an ordinary angle grinder, but it's got this little chainsaw disc on it. These are regular chainsaw blades, but you'll notice they don't skip like a normal chainsaw. There's every one. They're sharpenable. You can sharpen them just like a chainsaw, but what it does is it'll carve that out of there. It won't be pretty, but it doesn't have to be pretty. Anytime you're putting wood up outside, you should always prime it, at least prime it. Front and back, back and front, and ends. Everything should at least have a coat of primer on it before you install it. What I'm using is cover stain. It's made by Zinsser. It's what we use on pretty much everything outside. The knots on the front side I'll bend. Now you'll notice I did the back side first, so when I flip it over, if the sawhorses make a little mark on it, it doesn't matter. Now this is bend. I'm going to use this on any knots so that they don't bleed through. Now I'll give that a few minutes to dry, and then I can prime that. Off the subject just a little bit, I did a little work on this lady's deck, and the top board on a railing like this always has water lay on it, and sometimes it cups, and it cups the wrong direction, and the water really lays on it. So what I like to do is I like to taper the sides maybe 1/4 of an inch to the middle each way, and that allows the water to somewhat run off of that rather than just sitting there on it. And even though this is treated lumber, it still rots. Just a little tip. What they did, this fiberboard is 3/8, and they put that on, and underneath it they put a strip to make it 3/4. It's really rinky-dink. They should have never allowed this stuff. Rots for no reason. They also nailed through the top of that board, so you can't just pull it out. You have to cut the nails, which you'll see me do in a minute, above that. Otherwise you destroy the piece above it. By the way, you can see the tar paper under the siding. That's a definite no-no. People used to do that years ago, and it's a definite no-no. It creates condensation behind it, and it just rots everything out. You should use infiltration paper or house wrap. Never, ever tar paper. You'll note I prime the edges, the cuts. Okay, that siding is replaced. And just so as you know, up in here, I already replaced one board. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, because you probably can't tell. Mrs. W caulked it in and painted it. Also, this wall, from about 8 feet down, I patched in probably better than half of this siding with siding that I made. What we have here is this door is rotten right in here, and you can see some of the trim is rotten. The lady doesn't want to go the expense of replacing the door, so I told her I would patch it in the best I could. She knows eventually she'll have to replace the door, but this will probably give her a few years. I'm going to glue this with a product called 2P10. It's 2-part 10 seconds. What you do is you put this glue on one side and you spray this activator on the other side, and it sets in 10 seconds. It's cured in 30 seconds, so they claim. So I'll put the glue on the board, and I'll spray this activator here, and get that into place. And I'm not priming this board on the inside because I want the glue to go directly to the wood. There you have it, it's set. Now what I'm going to do is fill this crack with a combination of Ready Patch, which is a vinyl type spackle, and regular painter's caulk. Mix them together. This becomes more flexible. You can still sand it, but it doesn't shrink up and crack out as much by mixing it with the caulk. When you're putting this on, you want to force it right in so that it fills that gap, although glue has filled a lot of it. Now when that dries, I'll just very lightly sand it, and then I can prime that piece. Before I got to make up a piece like this. Before I put that in, I'll prime this. I just ripped this piece on the table saw to match this. Got an angle on it, mitered it, and I'll put that in. But I'll glue it. And again, because I'm gluing it to this, I don't want to prime it first. It out like the other board was originally, and now I'm going to glue this piece on. I made this piece up, and it's pretty close to that. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close. I got everything primed, but I don't want to do the face until I put it on. Now, that's rebuilt. That's rebuilt. The bottom of the door is rebuilt. Mrs. W will come along and sand out everything and make sure there's no kickies. And and she'll paint it. So I think it come out pretty well. Saved her a lot of money on that door.